The repayment pause on student loans has been extended once again, a relief for over 40 million borrowers nationwide. After many rounds of payment pauses since March 2020, this extension into January of next year will be final, according to the White House. But some Democrats argue this can be taken one step further. A joint statement last Friday by Senators Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and Representative Ayanna Pressley said, quote, "It doesn't go far enough. We continue to call on the administration to use its existing executive authority to cancel $50,000 of student debt," end quote. President Biden campaigned with ambitions to solve the student debt crisis.
I proposed and the House, Nancy, put it in the plan to immediately provide $10,000 in debt relief as stimulus right now.
On his first day in office, he extended the student loan payment pause to September. His administration then took other steps in March, streamlining the debt forgiveness process for more than 70,000 borrowers who claim misconduct by for-profit schools. Also adding relief for more than 40,000 borrowers with disabilities, and expanding the pause to more than 1 million borrowers with private loans. By taking these steps, President Biden has canceled about $1.5 billion of student debt so far, which may sound like a lot, but it's less than 1% of the total student debt held by the federal government. His bold promise upon victory last November hasn't yet been fulfilled.
The legislation passed by the Democratic House calls for immediate $10,000 forgiveness of student loan. It should be done immediately.
Democrats have been pressuring the president to offer a more progressive $50,000 forgiveness to each borrower. With the control of the White House and both chambers of Congress, Democrats face less bipartisan challenge, but they haven't reached an agreement on the proper path. Senators Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, and others on the left say those $50,000 can be waived to each borrower with an executive order.
President Biden, with a flick of a pen, can get this done.
They argue that the president's education secretary can execute the power to cancel student debt according to the Higher Education Act of 1965. Thus, the president can surpass Congress to make this happen. On the other hand, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi insists that it must follow the congressional process.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power.
Biden's answer to the $50,000 waiver is a hard no.
We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen. I'm prepared to write off the $10,000 debt, but not 50. I don't think I have the authority to do it by sign of a pen.
A poll by Morning Consult in January found 56% of Americans were in favor of the $10,000 debt cut, higher than the 47% support for a $50,000 cancellation. Student loan forgiveness has a greater popularity among people of color, many arguing it can help close the racial wealth gap. Studies show that student debt weighs heavier on graduates of color in the long term, too. One 2019 study from Brandeis University found that 20 years after graduating, a typical white borrower has paid off 94% of their debt, while the typical black borrower still owes 95% of theirs. January 31st is only 175 days from now. Whether President Biden and Democrats can deliver a substantial solution before the extended deadline and the midterm elections remains a question mark.